Hi everyone and welcome to Nerfcast.
This is Josh.
And this is Shawn.
So today is a special episode.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Why is it special, Josh?
It is special because we have our first guest on the podcast.
I have no idea who it is.
Well, sucks to be you, doesn't it, Shawn?
It must be left out of the loop on everything. But this guy is very tied in and in the loop on what's happening new in Nerf.
Nice segue.
Yes. Tying it all together.
Keeping it going. So, without further ado, the man who needs no introduction, because everybody knows him.
Yes, MyLastDart.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. So basically, what I want to know, I mean, you've been breaking all this new news, all this cutting edge Nerf news for pretty much global stuff going on. I think what the Nerf community is really interested, though, at least me and Josh are interested, is what is your background in Nerf? We want to basically get some more information about you and learn what makes you love Nerf as much as we do.
The mystery.
Mystery man.
The man. The mystery.
The man behind the mystery.
Oh my God, if we were doing interview segments like you would be the Austin Powers of the movies.
Yeah! Yeah, baby!
I mean, of course, I could have gone with James Bond, a much classier guy, but let's be honest, Austin Powers is way cooler than James Bond.
Austin Powers
Oh,
used
definitely.
a Nerf blaster.
Yes, he would.
Oh, yes.
So let's start off with here, MLD. When did you first get into Nerf?
I guess when we first got into it, it was back in the 90s. My dad, he bought us I had three brothers. So when he bought us like blasters, we would like share playing it. And then like when our cousins would come over, they would have like a bajillion blasters and super soakers and everything, and we just used to mess around with those. But then I kind of grew up, as everyone does, and I got into like airsoft and paintballing. I did that for quite a long time actually. But then one thing that always kind of bothered me was if you wanted to play with paintball or airsoft, you had to go to like designated like zones or sort of like paid pitches that you have to play on, and that always bugged me. And also you had to buy BBs all the time or pay for paintballs. But like recently, kind of like November time, I met up with an old friend. Had not seen him for many a year. And basically, he was saying that he's having to get together with a load of old people that I kind of lost touch with, because I've kind of like lived abroad and stuff, so I kind of sort of lost touch with a lot of people. And yeah, they had like a load of guys turned up, and they're having a Nerf battle. And I didn't have a Nerf gun, but they had a spare one, and they gave me a Retaliator. And we just had a battle. We played like capture the flag, defend the fort, sort of one-shot lives. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Nice. So you got into it like right as the Elite line came into being.
Well, got back into it.
Or that's what I mean, got back into it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole way sort of the whole MyLastDart came about was we were playing one-shot kills, and it eventually got down to me and this other guy. My magazine was empty, and I sort of just like dropped to my knees and yeah, go on then, finish me off. And he was just like, he walked sort of up towards me with this massive bravado, and he was like, ha ha ha, how shall I finish you? and I was like there with my blaster, just like fumbling it, like, oh, shall I throw it at him or shouldn't I? And then I noticed there was like a dart in the grip. So what I did was, while I distracted him, going, oh no, what are you going to do? You going to do a headshot? You going to execute me? What are you going to do? So I just like, bought the time, slid it manually, because I took the clip out, slid the dart in there manually. I went, you know what, if I was you, I would just do this. So I primed it, pointed at him and shot him, and I won the game. And he was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Oh my god!" So everyone was like, "Dude, you're like my last dart. You did it with your last dart." And I was like, "You know what? That's how it's gonna roll. Yep, that's how it happened."
That is awesome.
That might be the best origin story for a name I have heard for Nerf in a while.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's that's so cool.
No, that was awesome. So you started with a Retaliator?
Yes, and that I pretty much fell in love with the blaster. Then it was my birthday coming up in December, and my my wife was like, "So what did you want for your birthday?" And I was like, "Retaliators." I was like linking her on Facebook and everything, and she was like, "Wait, you're actually serious? You want that for your birthday?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." So then she ordered one for me, and never looked back. I just love the Retaliator. It's so, sort of so flexible, and what you can do, whether you mod it or not, as a stock blaster, it's just brilliant. It's good for long ranges. And if you need to sort of like have indoor battles, then you can just take the barrel off, so they don't see you coming round the corner. I think it's an awesome blaster.
No, I think Josh and I definitely agree. Honestly, we were talking about our loadouts recently,
Hmm.
and what we feel we both honestly use the Retaliator right now, just because it's a simple, easy to use blaster. I've had almost my entire time using it. I think I've had one or two jams the entire time with it. It's just a very reliable, clean, and effective blaster.
Yeah, plus you get all of the accessories with it and things like that. So
And the accessories, I mean, everyone wants accessories, obviously, and it's nice just being able to throw them on different blasters. The Strife looks great. The Strife looks great with a
sure
barrel
does.
attachment, the stock attachment, especially the front grip too. Just because, I mean, it's a automatic blaster, so you don't have to worry about cocking it. You can just point and shoot and go.
I mean, this is one thing that has caught me out, when I sort of played battles when the Strife came out. I just thought, it's a Retaliator, um, and I can ignore that guy because I know what his ranges are or what he can achieve. Kind of like, pretty much you have to slam fire the Retaliator to get a good use out of it. So you pay attention to other more threatening people like some of the Hellfire, or what have you, and before you know it, you just hear the zzzz. You're like, "Wait, what? A retaliation do that? Should it?" And then it's like, they've got the Strife there with the barrel, like you said, the tactical grip, and they've got the little scope from a long strike, and it's awesome. It's really good.
No, that's definitely, I think we all agree it's a pretty awesome blaster.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I'm just kind of curious. You mentioned a little bit that when you were playing with your friends, you're doing stuff like capture the flag, defend the fortress, or assault the fortress. Are those still the main game types you play today?
When because I hurt my back like 2 years ago, and like an old back injury has come to haunt me, which sucks. But basically, yeah, sort of like the capture the flag games, um, and defend the fort. Those are pretty much sort of like my favorite games. I can't do the last dart kill now because everyone.
Everyone suspects.
Everyone sees it coming.
You need to get like an old secret shot and
Mhm.
like raise your blaster up and then shoot from the bottom.
Totally. So, yeah, I mean, I've been looking at like a master key actually, with a rough cut and strife in one, because I've got a couple of spare strifes kicking about. So I thought, why not do something with them?
It's kind of weird. I don't, well, not weird necessarily, but everyone I know who buys a Strife does not buy just one Strife. I bought two when they first came out.
Yep.
My friend has two. Josh has two. He's not even really running the first one. He's just like, I have two of them now.
I have two of because it's awesome.
I think the natural reflex is if I don't have to prime it, then I can just run around akimbo and just go da 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 with it.
Yeah.
But everyone has multiples of it. It's weird. I mean, I think it also helps that it's a cheap blaster too. If you look around here in the States, it's about $20. Sometimes it's on sale for cheaper. But it's a good entry level price for a blaster that works so well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Flywheels are
I mean,
expensive.
yeah. I mean, the UK when it first came out, It was around the £20 mark, which is kind of, I think, around $25. But now it's dropped right down. I've seen it for as little as like $11.99. So that's kind of like $15 maybe, a little less than that.
Dang.
So yeah, it's really accessible now.
Sweet. So when you were playing, what was I going to say here? When you were playing, obviously, it was with the first line of Elite Blasters. How do your friends over there in the UK feel about the new Elite series?
They love them. I mean, these guys, kind of when I sort of phased out of Nerf back in the 90s and sort of like early 2000, they were still sort of like enjoying all the End Strike stuff that was coming out. So, you know, they loved it. They're quite big into modding as well. So it's interesting. I would say sort of half of them do mod, half of them don't. But I mean, the guys that do mod, they still have like stock blasters because sometimes the guys play just stock battles. Yeah, you know, they really like the new sort of flywheel technologies, the new you know, sort of new plunger systems, or rather the old systems that they brought back. So I mean, the new systems, you know, they're fun. A lot of like the new sort of Rebel stuff that's coming, you know, with the revolvers, the priming systems, the whole bowcaster thing, and also there's a couple of new things that you know that people won't know about. But again, you know, Hasbro's just really sort of keeping it fresh and switching it up. You see a lot of companies like Zing, Busby, you know, everyone's trying to do their best to break, you know, sort of the 100 feet ranges and everything, and you know, with Elite setting the benchmark at 75 feet, albeit slightly arced, you know, it's yeah, good exciting stuff coming up.
Oh, definitely. And speaking of Zing bows and stuff like that, I've noticed that there actually has been a big push on their part too, to kind of break that gender barrier that's existing between a lot of the fans of Nerf.
Yeah.
For example, everyone's really excited about the Rebel line. The other day, I was in Toys R Us, and there's a Z-bow that's actually purple and pink, and I bought it. My friend picked up the bow. He picked up, oh, what was it, like $130 worth of arrows too?
Something like that. It's close to $200
Yeah,
worth of the arrows for it.
He's an archery nut, so he just loves archery. So when we told him, hey, there's actually a bow you can actually pull back, fire, and it gets around 100 feet, he's like, oh, I'm all over that.
Yeah, I think he had one already.
Did he?
I think he bought another one, something like that. He showed me that, like, he has so much ammo for that thing. It's ridiculous. I mean, thought that we spend a lot on Nerf, like darts, but the
thing is, we're buying streamlines, so everyone can use streamlines for the most part, because most of our wars we're running stock blasters too, so everyone just uses streamlines for that. But here he is buying specialized ammo just for his blaster, like $130, just a huge stack of arrows that are just he's expecting to go to town with it.
Yeah,
I haven't told him that I bought the bow too. So my plan is the next war I'm just going to sneak it in, and he's going to fire all these arrows like, haha, I gotcha, and you can't fire back, and he's just going to start seeing arrows flying back at him. It's like, what's going on?
Really?
Yeah, and he's a huge fan of Green Arrow, the DC comic book hero. And Green Arrow even has like a TV show called Arrow now on TV. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to be Green Arrow, I'm going to be Hawkeye with my purple bow and just go to town. Let's see who makes more money in the box office.
Oh.
I do get mind controlled though.
This is true.
Yes. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers for the first 5 minutes of the Avengers movie that came out almost a year ago.
But yeah, I have appreciated the sort of push that a lot of the other companies are doing as well. I
like it. A competitive market is always going to be a good thing, because it means that, hey, you can't just rest on your laurels here. You have to come up with competitive ranges. Nerf definitely, big guys at the table, they're the ones to be, and they come out and say, we have 75 feet ranges on our blasters. Oh, yeah. Nobody can touch us. And here we are with other blasters saying, okay, let's start putting up to 125 feet on our boxes. And maybe that's not the actual amount, but they're trying to push distance and accuracy as much as they can.
Yeah.
and I feel like that's a push in the right direction.
Agreed.
Definitely. I would say that there was kind of a period where Hasbro was more or less doing their own thing, and they made it very clear a couple of years ago, I believe, when they said, "Look, modding, we hate them because we put out safe products that meet certain standards and requirements, and then people are cracking them open and more or less making them unsafe." So that's something that as a company they can't abide by, which is understandable. But as of late, like you said, with all those companies, you're sort of like challenging Hasbro, that they've kind of, like you said, it's healthy competition. They've forced their hand, and also for Hasbro to keep things fresh, I think that they're having to listen now to the modding community, as well as sort of stock fans as well, and sort of switch up their game.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I remember. Well, I mean, just with the strife, as far as listening to the modding community, it's not always about ranges, and the modding community is always trying to get more and more out of a blaster. But just simple mods like, you know, making a barricade that is clip fed, things like that. Hasbro's really hitting the mark with showing that they're listening to people.
Yeah, like you mentioned that maybe they're not happy about people doing mods, which is completely understandable. If the news hears a story about someone getting hurt with a modified Nerf blaster, all they're going to hear is someone was hurt with a Nerf blaster.
Hmm.
And that is bad rep for them no matter what. I mean, even though we're all adults here, definitely kids are still their target demographic. Kids and teens, they're going to be the ones they're going after for advertising. If a parent sees that, it's almost game over for them for a while.
Yeah, safety first definitely makes sense for
Mhm.
a company.
But another level, it is kind of nice to see that they've been looking at some of these mods, like the clip fed barricade mod Josh was just talking about,
Hmm.
and saying, hey, the community is saying not necessarily they need higher performance or dangerous performance. We just need something that functionality wise operates a little bit differently that works well for players. And I feel like the Strife is basically the answer that we've been looking for as far as clip fed electronic blasters go.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Actually, it's a funny thing that you say, that Hasbro listened and produced the Strife, which is true. That they've said, they've told me that all the feedback given from the mod community, and also, I like the fact that they listen to sort of the HVZ communities as well as stock fans, and that's how that well, that's how that's come about. I think it's great that they do that.
Yeah, definitely. I speaking of HVZ, I think that was honestly a big push for the resurgence in Nerf with adults a couple years ago.
Hmm.
Because definitely there was the N Strike line, which is great. Having clip-fed blasters is really nice. But I think it was around that time that Human versus Zombies started kind of kicking off at campuses and becoming a lot more popular too. So here you have this demographic similar to you, MLD, where they played with Nerf when they were kids, had a blast with it, and then as adults they're saying, "Hey, Nerf has evolved, it's very combat friendly as far as game types would go. Let's start making a game where, say, we go after zombies and just have a bunch of ammo we can just fire off really quickly and go with it." And then from that level with adults, you get higher expectations for performance, and then you kind of lead into the elite line from there. It's all kind of a natural progression, and I think,
Hmm.
at least in my opinion, a part of that is thanks to the fan community and Humans versus Zombies kind of reinvigorating this new crowd to get back into Nerf.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I just want to add as well. When I was playing with the engineers, it's quite interesting. I think a lot of people will find this quite shocking. Um, the engineers, they referred to the blasters as being old. Now I was running around with like sort of like strifes and rough cuts, and they're mixing all the blasters over, but they actually referred to the elite blasters as being old, and I was like, oh, you mean N Strike, like Barricade, the old Alpha Trooper, a
Hmm.
Spectre, and they're like, oh no, old blasters, Strife, Rough Cut, Strong Arm. I was like, are you wait? Do you really work for them? And because what you have to remember is that these engineers, they're working kind of like 2 or even 3 years in advance of what we have now.
Mm.
So, like, if imagine it, Elite Range, it was released sort of pretty much sort of 2012 Christmas, sort of January time. So they would have been actually working on this stuff sort of like 2010, perhaps as early as that. And
Yeah.
now it's 2013. So these blasters are effectively almost maybe sort of 3 or 4 years old to them. But like you say, thanks to all the communities for giving their feedback, and I'm kind of sort of like in a good position to have built up a good relationship where I've kind of opened up sort of those avenues where I actively take feedback from people, find out not only from sort of stock players, HVZ players, but also from the modding community, what they like, what they don't like, what could be done better, what they've done, to sort of mod stuff and make it better. But also, one thing that Hasbro has said that, this is one example one of the engineers gave was, if someone has a jolt and they want to stick a hellfire under that jolt, you know, people shouldn't laugh at them or say, "What the hell are you saying? You can't do that," because in their, this is stuff that they actually do themselves. Crazy things like that might not work, but they might open up like an avenue that they had never thought before, and that has actually, kind of created quite a lot of not only sort of next gen blasters, but also a lot of the elite stuff we see today.
Nice.
So you realize by admitting that the engineers are listening to you, you're going to get bombarded by emails, messages, where everyone's going to say, "Do this, have Nerf do this, make me a gun that shoots potatoes."
Tell them, tell them we need these things.
Well, I get a lot of sort of emails from like fans of Nerf. I'm first and foremost, I'm a fan myself, so
Mhm.
I fire over sort of suggestions and things I found that don't quite work, or things that could work, and the Nerf internet community, it's a big one, and the great thing about it, it's global. Everyone plays with the same stuff. They do more or less the same or different off-key mods. So it's all sort of trying to aim towards making the blasters better. So all the feedback that I collect from all these communities, thank you to them for all the feedback, and just keep it coming. It's there's no worry of bombarding me at all, because everything they say, we say, it all goes towards creating next gen blasters.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting you admitted or mentioned that the blasters, the designs on them are a little bit old. I was actually just checking out the Strife the other day, and usually on the blasters they will put a copyright date on the design and stuff like that. The Strife, if you actually look on it towards the barrel, I think on the left side of the blaster, it says copyright 2011. So that
Hmm.
means at least the patent or whenever they filed the design for the Strife must have been back in 2011. Who knows how long? Like a year, maybe even potentially 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean that means they were potentially working on it, like R&D was creating things before that, and they had just finalized the design probably
No, it's
at
great to
that
hear
point.
that they're constantly innovating. They aren't being reactionary and saying like, okay, we're going to put this out, we're going to wait what people say, and then we're going to start working on the next generation. It sounds like there's a constant flow of design going on, which is awesome to hear for players because it means there's always something new kind of to expect around the corner from Hasbro.
Hmm. No, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I mean, obviously, not everything's going to go through. I mean, we've all pictures have been going around lately of that CS50 design with the Stampede.
Oh, the one with the two drums?
The two drums, and I
Yeah.
think I think everyone kind of likes the idea. I bet you the engineers must have had a blast trying to design that and figure out how what's the biggest capacity drum we can make that'll work properly and go with our blasters.
Oh yeah.
And on some level, it makes me happy that that didn't come out.
Mm.
Not because I dislike the idea. I think it's a great idea. I
Mm.
like the idea that Hasbro, on some level, is saying this functionality wise won't work. The performance isn't going to work well. They might have experienced jams or the spring's not working properly with it. Who knows what? I'm not going to put words in their mouth, of course, but just the performance level and design wouldn't make sense for the Nerf community, and they didn't want to put out a bad product.
Right. It's nice to see not necessarily failed attempts, but basically what went into research and development and them.
And quality control.
Yeah, and quality control, them saying this isn't going to perform up to our standards, and that doesn't mean that they're not going to even rework it and potentially bring it out later. Just it's nice seeing things that didn't come to be, things that didn't come to pass at the time that they thought they were because one reason or another. It's somewhat reassuring.
Yeah, I mean, I mean the the Stampede, the CS50, that's been around for a long time, and just to actually say, I actually spoke to the engineers about this and said, look, come on, what's happening with it? And the main issues were that they had a Cycle 8 system where essentially you say it's two drums stuck together. It kind of is, but they managed to make it just like one drum where they had the 50 darts all fed in, and they would like kind of be like on a conveyor belt where they just kept feeding through in a figure of eight.
Gotcha.
And what happened was sometimes when you got a jam, it just messed up everything. So what they did was they entered a jam door, and that was one of the other problems. They couldn't figure out where best to put that jam door.
Right.
And then the other problem was when they put a jam door in, it was, they didn't want people sticking their hands in there because the way the figure of eight worked, if you were still firing and you had that open, you could like mangle up a finger or two. So that didn't work. Then they tried two independent drums within the same system, and again, the issue was that when darts got jammed and chewed up, then the problem opened up again. How and where would they put a jam door? How could they make it safe, to do that? With most stuff with the CS clips, you can pretty much just sort of clear it quite easily and carry on. But with like the drums, it's a little harder, especially with that system. The other problem was that they've got a wide range of access to materials, but to make the drum sturdy and to a decent quality that fans, come to expect, it just made the blaster just way too heavy to be viable. Kind of like something they've realized with the Hellfire. They say 144 darts, but if you rack it up with loads of 18 clips, you do find it becomes heavy, hard to, accuracy suffers. It's just not. It's not really worth running around with. So those were the main issues. But to say that's it, they have shelved it for now. So if a genius can come along and figure out how it works, then yeah, never say never.
Exactly.
This is the problem with having you on the show, MLD, because Josh and I sit here and speculate, and you actually know what's going on.
It's like
So like,
spoilers.
let me guess. Let me guess what's going to go on. You're like, no, Shawn, no, I'm gonna let you say what you're gonna say, but it's wrong.
No, not at all. I mean, look, I mean, I was very fortunate to go along, to the toy fair, and I've been very fortunate with the relationship that I've struck with Hasbro UK. They've been very good to me, and in turn, I've not done it as me, because that's just it's just not worth it. The way I see it is, it's my hobby. There's loads of fans. There are people that mod and make blasters way better than I ever could, because I'm a klutz when it comes to modding. So open it up to everyone, get their feedback coming in, and sort of making this stuff better. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Nerf fan as well. I love Nerf. Where what sort of blasters or airsoft or paintball can you take into the street and just start playing, or just pick up and start playing around in the house?
Oh yeah.
you can't do that with those types of blasters. So it's cool, everything that I've sort of worked and achieved so far. I just want to keep that going, and as long as I'm doing everything I can to get feedback from fans and everything. Because when the Revonix 360, when I played with that, there was actually 5 of those at the toy fair, and they all had different types of firing systems. The one I played pretty much all the way was a semi-automatic one. And then after the toy fair, I got a lot of feedback, though I didn't speak about the Revonix. I got a lot of feedback asking certain questions, and when the Revonix did get released, at the New York Toy Fair, taking that feedback and passing it on. Well, from the London Toy Fair, should I say? It seems that they then took away a detachable barrel from the Revonix to actually a fixed barrel. The rep, the foam from above, did a brilliant job for us Nerf fans at the New York Toy Fair. I have to say, that was a fixed drum. It didn't have the prototype that guy had could only fire 1 disc, not 2. It just had slam fire and a regular firing mechanism. So it's interesting how they've already thought out of these ideas, and when fans kind of give their feedback, they're actually listening.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's honestly great. This is the other bad thing about having you on the show. I just want to listen to you the whole time.
I keep talking.
Because I'm like, wait, shut up. This is cool. I'm like sitting over, like looking at you, just like, don't you open your mouth. Do not interrupt him. I want to hear stuff.
He's like balancing treats on my nose, like, shh, don't do it. Then you eat it.
Scooby snacks, yay!
Oh, Scooby snacks are so good.
Was there a song about that?
Probably. What I'm thinking of is there used to be this store around here called Linens and Things. I think they went out of business like 2 years ago. They had a box, and I know I'm getting off topic here. They had a box called Scooby Snacks where they're like those little honey, like teddy bears that taste like honey and cinnamon.
Like honey grams?
Oh,
Honey grams, yes. Yeah. And it's like that, but it was better, and I don't know where to buy them anymore because this place is out of business.
Or Teddy grams.
If you know where to buy Scooby Snacks and you're listening to this podcast, let me know.
Let Shawn know.
I will solve mysteries for you. I'll bring in MyLastDart and he'll solve Nerf mysteries for you, and I'll just take the snacks.
Deal. Pay me in gummy bears.
Oh no, I love gummy bears too.
No.
This is horrible.
Now Shawn's gonna want gummy bear soup today.
I'm so happy because I'm a gummy bear. Gummy bears.
See, I didn't get why they stopped making those cartoons. They were just so awesome, waking up on a Saturday morning and just watching.
Do kids have Saturday morning cartoons still?
It feels like there are cartoons on every day of the week, so Saturday morning is no different.
That's true. Like I remember there used to be one Saturday morning on ABC, American Broadcasting Channel, and it was funny because then they started doing it after school and they still called it One Saturday Morning. And I'm like, you can't call it One Saturday Morning if it's the same cartoon 6 days a week. The logic does not add up there.
I remember that.
But I think that's something that a lot of us adult fans of Nerf, not to be confused with the blog Adult Fans of Nerf, have in common is that we did play with Nerf when we were kids and we had a good time. And on some level, I know Josh too, he was playing Airsoft for a number of years and he enjoyed it. But the problem was he had to travel a long way to get to a site to play, similar to you, MLD. And it was a set arena, set rules.
Yeah, it's expensive to get into. It's expensive to continue buying ammo and things for. You can only play at regulated fields. Nerf was like, let's just go to the park and fire Nerf blasters at each other.
Park, school. Always get permission where you go, folks. But we can pretty much take it wherever it's a public area and just start playing.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because it's fun. It's fun just to have your friends say, hey, you want to play a game real quick? Similar to, like, say, playing soccer or football.
Yeah.
I realized I picked the one sport that has 2 different names where we are.
said soccer and football, and I'm thinking
The
football,
same.
football.
Or American football.
It's not like curling where you have to be on a field of ice.
Right, right.
See, I'm being fair because nobody plays curling.
No.
I've
Great, we
played
lost.
curling before.
Curling?
Yeah, it's fun. It's actually fun.
Like literally, like 2 Winter Olympics ago, I would stay up every night, nothing to watch on TV, and it was like, and we have the curling event, and the team
Yeah.
has come on, and they have launched the puck
Is
or fish. They have launched the turkey into the frozen food aisle, and they're being on aisle 7 to get you into time for Thanksgiving.
Grocery store curling. That's
Oh my
we're
God,
gonna
that's
make
the
it a
new
sport,
thing.
buddy.
This is the natural evolution of Nerf. You go from Nerf to airsoft to Nerf again, and then aisles in grocery stores throwing turkeys and sweeping. You can make this happen. Zombie apocalypse, just like that scene in Zombieland where Woody Harrelson is looking for Twinkies. Like, no, we're gonna do some turkey curling real quick.
Turkey curling. That sounds like a weird way of working out. Like just bicep curls with a 10-pound turkey.
No. You get the freaking
Turkey curls.
drumstick, you lift it up, take a bite. The set's getting harder, but I'm getting fuller at the same time.
Uh,
Interesting
actually,
story.
while
I'm
we
allergic
were
to turkey.
while we were on the
Just
topic
throwing that out there for the fans.
of
But let's get back to Nerf.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Apparently not.
No. This is relevant. So it feels like when we were kids growing up, I mean, we looked forward to Saturday morning cartoons, and so there was one day there were cartoons. I mean, there were some during the week, but everybody was watching Saturday morning cartoons. So companies like Hasbro knew, boom, let's advertise Saturday morning cartoons. We're gonna hit it, our demographic. Our
Yeah,
target
it's a perfect
demographic right
setup for
there.
them because they know exactly when all the kids are going to be glued to a TV during the
Yeah,
4 hour period.
yeah, and it seems like today that doesn't happen. I mean, yeah, there's still Nerf commercials and things like that. But I mean, how many times have we played and like kids have come up to us like, "What are those?" I'm like, "Dude, when I was a kid, I would have known exactly what this was." If I saw people playing with Nerf blasters in a park, I would have been like, "Oh, they've got Nerf guns."
Have you experienced MLD? Are kids familiar with the newest stuff out over in the UK?
Um,
Or just Nerf in
I
general.
mean, how often do you go up to 8-year-old kids and just ask them about Nerf? That's what I really want to know. Because
He has a Nerf
without
van.
without their parents freaking out. You.
yeah, van that says free
Um,
candy and Nerf on the side of it.
I mean, kids are pretty switched on to blasters, but they seem to know a lot more of the end strike rather than the elite, which is quite funny because the the way sort of Nerf is or Hasbro's going, they are looking to phase out end strike or the old yellow stuff, the nasty stuff. Um, Now, the US, most places in Europe and Asia are pretty much in a position where they can stop selling End Strike and just sell Elite Blasters. But there's some places sort of around this. A good example is this: Nerf Columbia. They had on their Facebook page where they were going to unveil one of the brand new blasters, and I was like, oh my god, please say it, so then I can, because they've kind of said it, that kind of releases me from my NDA because it's out there already. So I'm like following this like a hawk, and then they unveil the Maverick.
Wow.
Oh my
I was
god.
like, wait, what? So I emailed them. I said, "Wait, you're gonna unveil the new blaster, and you said it's the Maverick." They're like, "Yes, it's brilliant." I'm like, "Wait till they hear about what Elite. Wait, forget Elite. Wait till they see what Vortex is. They're gonna go crazy for. I mean, so a lot of places like that, they're still sort of almost being introduced to the End Strike, and the End Strike is more popular than the Elites,
Mhm.
which is weird. But I mean, that's hopefully what that is their strategy to completely phase out End Strike and have the Elite range as the staple sort of diet blasters that we have, and then the new funky stuff is going to come out and effectively replace Elite.
Gotcha.
That's interesting. I mean, from a business standpoint, it definitely makes sense to always have new stuff so people are constantly finding a need to buy, buy, buy.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes sense that maybe secondary markets that aren't the primary targets for Hasbro, because how it works, I mean, Josh and I will thrift shop a lot too.
Oh yeah.
If you ever go to, say, a Goodwill or a Savers around where a Target is, whenever Target wants to get rid of all their older stuff, they know it's not going to sell. Like, for example, the N Strike line, it's not going to sell well next to the Elite line because it's very close price wise. Why not just buy the better blaster? They'll
Mm.
donate it to those thrift shops just to get a tax write off and do that. But I,
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was thinking, wow, that's cool.
Oh, definitely. You get some great prices then. I found some really good blasters, really thrift shopping. But on a second level, I'm sure Hasbro probably has warehouses just full of the N-Strike line. So they're probably thinking, well, let's release this in targeted markets where there isn't a Nerf basis already, and it's a good way to kind of dip your toes in the water, see is this going to work? Are they going to take to it? So, for example, in Colombia, say the Maverick's coming out. If people go nuts over the Maverick, then it's like, cool, give it a year, let everyone buy a Maverick, then we'll show them a strong arm, and they're gonna just lose it.
But I'm thinking of these people, you know, they must. Well, they got the internet, so where they must they must be aware that the Elite stuff's out. We
Yeah.
can't be plugging the N Strike, because customers, there's millionaires or whatever over there, but people middle class or what have you, or certainly like the kidults, they're gonna import stuff, whether it's from America or Europe or Asia or where have you, so it's going to be like, wait, they're talking about the Maverick, but that guy over there's got something called a strong arm, and it's better. So I don't know. They are kind of doing themselves a disservice. But I mean, like end of 2012, one of the best-selling blasters from the Elite range was the Hailfire,
Mm.
and the most interesting thing I found was that the best-selling territory in the world was Brazil.
Hmm.
Really?
Yes,
Interesting.
um, and again from the conference that I was able to attend, um, they were a bit disheartened about what's happened with the states. Obviously, it's the recession and everything, and times are hard for everyone. But sort of the Nerf market in the US actually shrunk, um, in the US, and I think the overall figure was the US is now sort of minus 0.3% shrinkage compared to like Asia, and the Americas, and Europe is starting to pick up a lot of stuff. It seemed they did hint towards Asia, because it's an emerging market. They made it sound like they would get more exclusives than the US or anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
South Africa, that is a very fast growing market. Obviously, uh, if we were in spaceships, they were sticks and stones. We've slowed down obviously because of recession, and they can only go up. So they've kind of exploded, and that's like another market that they're sort of heavily targeting as well for Nerf. So it's interesting, but they did end with um, bringing Nerf back home. Obviously, the home being states. So they have very much, in their strategy, is very sort of grounded that they're gonna do big things for Nerf in the states. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they're gonna start doing a bit more dart tag and bring that up, because Toys R Us got in there quick and said dart tag sounds amazing, give it to me, and they've pretty much been giving Hasbro, I don't know, let's figure out the year that they give them $1 million this year, next year, right, do you want to give up dart tag? No, 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 here's $2 million. We want to keep it. And they're like, okay. And then like year 3 comes along, and they're like, oh, okay, you're not doing much with dart tag. You want to give it up now? No, here's $3 million. We want to keep it. And I think it's got to a point where, it makes business sense to let them have it, because I spoke to them at length, the engineers, about this. I said, look, dart tag, what are you doing? We haven't seen anything for a while. Are we going to see anything? They pretty much said, look, there's no demand from Toys R Us. In fact, Toys R Us tell them that it's kind of dead with them. That's why they have no intention to do dart tag tournaments. If they see things picking up with dart tag, then they're going to start doing tournaments again, and that's pretty much going to have a roll-on effect for Hasbro to go, wait, they're selling all these blasters now. Oh, people have problems with jams, this, that, the other, and it's time we bring out new, dart tag designs, new blasters. So, it's much down to the fans to sort of pick up that demand and kind of make dart tag happen again.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's basically on us to basically go out and buy these dart tag blasters if we want popularity to come back. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
It does. You know what sucks is what really got me back into Nerf was the fact that they had started the clip system stuff. The idea that I could have multiple magazines on me at once was really cool. I liked it a lot, and that's why probably I'm not as much into dart tag blasters, because they don't have detachable magazines yet. Um, so in one way, I want to just go and just buy a bunch of stuff to support them and be like, yeah, we really want to see Dart Tag come back. Can you please make these like detachable so that I can enjoy them?
I mean, I bet you anything that there are probably some engineers who have thought about it in
Oh,
just
I'm
their free
sure.
time how to do it. But like MLD mentioned, if
It's
it's
not
not
there.
making money,
Yeah.
then why dedicate time and resources to it, you know?
Oh, for sure.
And that's where it's got to be a hard decision for Hasbro because here they are, they have a line of toys I'm sure they would love to sell and promote and generate a lot of hype for. But if they're receiving money from Toys R Us, it's kind of like, hey, you're stagnating our growth. We don't want to go with you. But Toys R Us is saying, hey, here's another big chunk of money that's bigger than what we gave you last time.
Yeah, I mean, I almost like I said, if I were a millionaire, I'm sure that I would just go buy a ton of them for all of my friends and try to really get it
Skew the
going.
numbers.
Skew the numbers a little bit. But it's almost like, is it better to try and get everybody to try and just buy Dart Tag, or just leave it dead and hope that Toys R Us finally just goes like, all right, we're not going to renew, and then Hasbro can maybe take over and just make things the way they want to do things and
Yeah,
without
because I
having
am
Toys R
definitely
Us.
jealous of the system they have overseas. Like, for example, when MLD talked about the Quest store or the
Yeah.
Quest area over in the UK and how they're planning on building one in South Africa too, it sounds like. Am I right on that,
Yep,
MLD?
that's right. They're going to trial it in the UK, with hopes that the Paragon Entertainment are very famous and very well known for big amusement parks, theme parks around the world. Um, and this is, an agreement that they secured last year to open official Nerf stores. I've actually been to the one in Merry Hill up in Birmingham, and it's amazing. They've got climb walls over 4 floors. They've got a shooting range. They hope to. They're still in talks with Hasbro, but sort of the new blasters that are coming out, they want kind of exclusivity on them, where they have not prototypes, but the live thing in store. Fans can come in and just play with it, try it in the range. They charge you about £1 for about 50 darts, so you can play with whatever blaster, try it out. But also they will have in store um, arenas, and to give you an idea of the size, if you take an American football pitch and chop it in half, that will be the size of the arena. They've got obstacles in there, everything, and they'll have sort of full-time paid game marshals, referees who run games. You'll be able to, sort of set up games with friends, enter store leagues. And then as they create more of these stores in the UK, I'm guessing it's going to be because the shopping centre is called Westfield. This place is so
Really?
big, it's pretty much got a zip code for itself. That's how big this shopping centre is. So as they open them up in more sort of capital towns around the UK, then they're going to have store v store tournaments, and the
Huh.
main goal is to have national tournaments. Now the brilliant thing is you got your kid ranges in age range, you've got your tweens, and then you've got your kidult ranges. So all the big guys will not be excluded. They'll be able to
Awesome.
come down
Nice.
with all their friends and just play and enter these tournaments.
Wow.
No, that sounds amazing, and it's great to hear that they're trialing it in the UK. I really hope it catches on. It's hard for me to see it not working, but then again, I'm a Nerf enthusiast, so of course I'm going to be excited
Right,
about
we're
it.
we're a little biased.
But I would imagine kids, I mean, even adults, if you watch a show called How I Met Your Mother, one of the big characters on there, Neil Patrick Harris, he loves playing laser tag. I feel
Yep.
like just saying, hey, that demographic, those rich guys who love dropping money, get them in the Nerf.
Yeah, no,
It
definitely.
seems like an easy transition.
Um,
And
while you were there, is it actually open yet, or were you there?
Yes, it's open.
Huh.
I actually schmoozed my way in with the manager to show me the arena. They're still padding it up,
Oh,
but it is amazing. They've got all the blasters there. They've got everything in catalog basically.
no.
There is one thing at the conference that they held. They said that they would start brokering parts, so that's stocks, scopes, barrel attachments, tacticals, you name it, whatever blaster accessories are out there, they'll be brokered. Actually, on the official Hasbro toy shop, there is a missing tile. So if
Hmm.
they're going to start brokering the parts themselves, I don't know, but they spoke about sort of partnerships with other companies to have them sort of produce these goods on their behalf, and they would quality check them. So a lot of fans, have been upset with the quality of accessories that have come out, like light sources,
Hmm.
cameras, and everything else. They just haven't been up to the quality people expect them. But things are going to change, and whether it's them or Hasbro themselves that do it, it's a massive market. I've made it very clear to them that from all the feedback I've collected, that's what fans want. They don't want to buy another Raider or Rampage just for just so they can get their hands on a barrel.
Hmm.
There are NDA. Is some other stuff coming out that will be sort of by itself, and that alone, I would not be surprised if that stuff that they bring out alone just dwarfs like sales of maybe the Rebel stuff or some of the new stuff.
Definitely. I mean, that's something that we've talked about a lot is
yeah,
just, more accessories or releasing accessories individually. Will that be, oh, I mean, you don't have to say, but um, is that something that's exclusive to the Nerf stores? That they're getting it? Or,
They're asking they're in talks with Hasbro to
oh,
get
okay.
exclusivity on some. So the states might have a blaster that's been released there first. The Quest guys or Paragon or
Hmm.
the Nerf stores, they want it to be available in their stores to say to all the UK guys, look, you can have this. Look, you can play with it first.
Right.
They're kind of, um, you know, they're still trying to work out the logistics of it. It's kind of like we'll let you do it if, say, Toys R Us are happy for you to do that,
Hmm.
or they jump into bed and say you can have exclusivity on all the blasters first. It's kind of they're still trying to work everything out there.
Of course, makes
hmm
sense. Um, now, I just had a question about the store, and you said the arena wasn't open yet. Do they have, I guess, when you go in to play in the arena, can you bring your own blaster? That's the long and short of
Okay.
it. Or do you have to rent them?
You basically they will have like $5 or $10 for the hour, and
Hmm.
they give you a stock blaster,
Okay.
of your choice with a set amount of darts, and then after that, like I said, it's like $2 for 50 darts, and then basically just rack up whatever you want, load up, and then sort of play the battles there. But they will not allow any outside or modified blasters or darts at all.
And that does make perfect
Yeah,
sense
that
because I
makes
was talking
sense.
to Josh about this. I mean, honestly, you can bring in a modded blaster super easy and it'll look just the same from the outside because all the mods are done internally inside the shell.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they don't want to be responsible for someone coming in with like a blaster that shoots nails or something like that.
Yeah. The screwdriver catapult and all that jazz, yeah.
I modified this
Poor,
gun
poor
to
little
shoot Nerf
Johnny.
darts. It shreds them, but it comes out of the barrel. No, so that makes perfect sense from a business perspective. I really hope something like that makes its way over to the States. What I would love to see for anyone listening to the UK, definitely support these stores, make them grow big, because then Hasbro will see this works, they'll see dollar signs, and want to deploy it out in other markets, like, say, the United States.
Yeah, I mean, we've got,
Did
Westfield
you?
shopping centers over here, so
Mhm. Yeah, that was something interesting, because Westfield is actually a chain of malls.
yeah.
They
Mhm.
they buy out malls. They put in a lot of anchor stores. They have certain setups. I think almost 90% of the malls I go to or see around here are Westfield owned.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it's the same company, it might just have the same name, but that would definitely be awesome if Westfield would bring out a system here in the US because of ties from the UK.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know if
Uh,
I'm accurate on that.
But, Paragon, I've spoken to the folks there actually, the CEO actually. Um,
You just
they,
tell everybody.
I gotta talk to everyone. This is the thing. You can like email them, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we'll get round to you," or spam button. Who doesn't do that? But I mean, if you call, they can't run from you. Well, not forever. So yeah, that's me. That's my background. I'm well, my profession is business development, account management. So it's kind of like it is my job to pick up the phone and speak to people. So whether that's making an international call or not, it's that's what I do.
Mhm.
So get in there in front of them and sort of get their attention and find out what I want to know. I mean, I think a lot of sort of the success of my blog, I think, it's kind of come down to sort of doing things differently and against the grain, I guess, compared to sort of a lot of other people out there right now.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely been effective for you. All this news has been amazing. Definitely very informative. It's a rush of new information that I haven't seen from Nerf
Hmm.
in the entire time I've been playing, which isn't a super long amount of time, but still, it's just a lot of good, consistently solid information that's accurate, straight from the horse's mouth. And I think Josh and I and other fans do appreciate the hard work you put in on your blog.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Oh, thank you. That's good. Thanks.
And it looks like we're trying to run a little short on time here. MLD, are there any last things you just want to say before we wrap it up?
Oh, I feel like eating cookies.
Scooby Snacks.
Scooby Snacks,
Full circle.
Gummy Bear Soup, which I will explain next time you're on the show.
There we
I have a
go.
concoction made gummy bear soup, but I will tell the details about that later.
Really? Is there any vodka involved or?
Oh, there can be.
There can.
You don't know what
Oh,
you're talking to here.
oh,
Oh yes.
Alrighty, so once again, my
Oh,
last start. Oh,
yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say let's shout out your blog
yes,
for those who don't actually know the address.
yes, we'll link
MLB.
it into the description as well. But it's mylastdart.blogspot.co.uk.
co.uk. Yes, thank you very much.
Boom.
That
He
was
got
from
it.
memory too. Boom.
Boom.
Yes.
He's only looked at that once because every time he just goes to his favorites.
I
It's right
go
there.
my L and then it just fills in the rest for me. So mylastart.blogspot.co.uk.
There we go.
Great source of information. He does interviews for other players and modders. Always great news. Definitely give him a hit. Great guy.
Yeah, if you're not following him,
do it.
Get on it. What's wrong with you? How did you find us and not him?
Yeah, you've gone backwards. You've reverted. But definitely, MLD, thanks again for being on the show. From everyone here at Nerfcast, this is Shawn.
And this is Josh.
Happy nerfing.
Happy nerfing.